Hello and welcome to Code Your English, the channel where you learn English while also learning something useful for life. I'm so happy you're here today. As always, our goal is to help you improve your English speaking and listening, and at the same time, give you ideas and knowledge that can help you in the real world. So, make yourself comfortable. Maybe grab a cup of tea or coffee, and let's get started. Today, we are going to talk about something that touches every person's life, no matter where they live. Our topic is understanding laws and compliance. Now, I know those words might sound a little formal or even a little difficult, but don't worry. We will keep everything simple and easy to understand. By the end of this episode, you will know what laws are, what compliance means, and why both are important for you, your family, and your community. Laws are like the rules of the game in life. They are made to keep things fair, safe, and organized. Imagine playing a game with your friends, but without any rules. People would argue, cheat, or even get hurt. Life without laws would be just like that, but much worse. Compliance is about following those rules, not only because you have to, but because it helps everything run smoothly. It's like stopping at a red traffic light even when the road looks empty. You do it because it's the rule, and it keeps people safe. Why is this topic important for everyone? Well, every day, whether we notice it or not, laws and compliance are shaping our actions and decisions. From the moment you wake up and lock your front door, to the moment you go to sleep, there are laws and rules protecting you, guiding you, and helping society work. Even simple things like paying for something at the store, wearing a seatbelt, or respecting your neighbor's property are connected to laws and compliance. Let me give you a quick example from daily life. Imagine you are driving to work. The traffic lights, speed limits, and road signs are all part of the law. If everyone follows them, the roads are safe. But if people ignore them, accidents happen. This shows how following laws is not just about avoiding trouble. It's about protecting ourselves and others. Compliance makes sure that everyone is playing by the same rules so that life works smoothly for all of us. So today, as we explore this topic together, think about how many moments in your daily routine are touched by laws and rules. You might be surprised at just how much they shape your day. What are laws? So, what exactly are laws? In the simplest words, a law is a rule made by a government or other authority that tells people what they can and cannot do. Laws are not just suggestions or advice, they are official rules. If people break them, there are consequences, such as fines, penalties, or even jail. You can think of laws as the instructions for living in a country, just like how a game has instructions so everyone can play fairly. Without laws, there would be confusion and chaos. Laws exist for a very important reason: to keep people safe, to make life fair, and to help communities work together. Imagine living in a place where there are no laws. People could take whatever they wanted, drive however they liked, and hurt others without being punished. It would be dangerous and unfair. Laws give us a clear idea of what is acceptable and what is not. They protect people's rights, property, and safety. They also help solve problems when people disagree. We can see laws in action all around us, in our everyday lives. Let's think about traffic laws. When you see a red traffic light, you stop. You do this because it's the law, but also because it keeps everyone on the road safe. If drivers ignored traffic lights, there would be accidents everywhere. Another simple example is paying for things in a store. The law says you cannot take something without paying for it. That would be stealing. This rule protects business owners and ensures that everyone has to give something in return for what they get. Laws also protect people's homes and property. For example, you cannot just walk into someone's house without permission. That's trespassing, and it's against the law. This rule exists so people can feel safe and secure in their own homes. In many places, there are also laws about keeping noise levels down at night. This helps make sure people can rest without disturbance. These are small examples, but they show how laws affect our daily routines in many ways, often without us even noticing. One important idea behind laws is fairness. A fair society is one where everyone is treated equally and has the same rules to follow. For example, traffic laws don't only apply to certain people, they apply to everyone, no matter who they are. If you drive too fast, you can get a ticket whether you are rich or poor, young or old. This fairness helps people trust the system and feel that rules are applied equally. Another big idea is order. Without order, life would be messy and unsafe. Imagine a busy city with no traffic signs, no pedestrian crossings, and no speed limits. People would drive in all directions, accidents would happen, and pedestrians would be at risk. Laws create order by telling us what to do and when to do it. This makes life predictable and safe. Order doesn't mean life is boring. It means life is organized so everyone can live together peacefully. It's also important to understand that laws are not the same everywhere. Different countries, and sometimes even different regions within the same country, can have different laws. For example, the driving speed limit in one country may be 100 kilometers per hour, while in another it may be 120 kilometers per hour. That's why when you visit a new place, it's important to learn about their laws, so you can follow them and avoid problems. Finally, remember that laws are not made to make life harder. Some people might think, why do we need so many rules? But most laws are there to protect you, to protect others, and to make sure everyone can live together peacefully. They help us know what is right and what is wrong, and they create a common understanding that makes life easier for everyone. So, laws are not just pieces of paper written by the government. They are the framework that holds society together. They are the invisible guide that shapes how we live, work, travel, and interact with others every single day. Even when you don't notice them, they are working in the background to keep you safe, to make things fair, and to keep life in order. What is compliance? Now that we understand what laws are, let's talk about a related idea: compliance. This word might sound a little formal or difficult, but the meaning is actually simple. Compliance means following the rules. When you comply with a rule, it means you do what the rule says. It's about your actions, making sure what you do matches what the law or regulation asks you to do. So how is compliance different from laws? Well, a law is the rule itself, but compliance is the act of following that rule. Think about it like this. If a law says you must wear a seatbelt in the car, the law is the rule. But compliance is you actually putting the seatbelt on every time you drive. You can know the law and still choose not to follow it. In that case, you are not being compliant. Compliance is about turning knowledge of the rule into real behavior. Let's look at some simple examples. Wearing a seatbelt is a clear one. The law says you have to wear it for safety. Compliance is making sure you wear it every time, not just when you think someone might be watching. Another example is paying taxes. In many countries, the law requires people to pay a part of their income to the government. Compliance here means filling out the forms, paying the right amount, and doing it on time. If someone delays or hides their income, they are breaking the law, and they are not compliant. Workplace safety is another area where compliance is important. Many workplaces have safety rules to protect workers, such as wearing helmets on a construction site, using protective gloves in a laboratory, or following emergency exit plans in case of fire. These rules might come from the government or from the company itself. Compliance means workers follow these safety steps every day, even when no one is watching. This keeps them and their colleagues safe. Compliance is not only about avoiding punishment, it's about making sure everything runs smoothly in society and in organizations. Imagine if half the people in your city decided not to follow traffic rules. Roads would become dangerous and unpredictable. Or imagine if workers ignored safety rules in a factory. Accidents would happen more often, production would slow down, and people could get hurt. Compliance is like the oil in a machine. Without it, things don't work well. In organizations, compliance is especially important because it builds trust. When a company follows the laws about safety, fair pay, and environmental care, people respect it more. Customers feel safe buying from them, employees feel safe working for them, and the company avoids legal trouble. On the other hand, if a company ignores the rules, it can lose money, reputation, and even be forced to close. It's also worth noting that compliance is not only about big, formal laws from the government. It can also be about smaller rules in your daily life, like following your school's dress code, respecting your community's recycling rules, or keeping quiet in a library. In all of these cases, compliance means doing your part to keep order and respect the system. Sometimes people think compliance is boring or unnecessary, but in reality, it is what keeps life moving without constant problems. It's the reason you can trust that food in a restaurant is safe to eat, or that a building has been built strongly enough to be safe. It's the reason you can walk on the street without worrying that every driver will ignore the traffic lights. So, while laws are the written rules, compliance is the everyday habit of following them. Both are important, but compliance is what brings the laws to life. Without it, even the best laws would be useless. Why laws and compliance matter in daily life. Now that we know what laws are and what compliance means, let's talk about why these two things are so important in our daily lives. You might not always notice them, but laws and compliance are working quietly in the background, making sure that life runs smoothly. Without them, our lives would be more dangerous, more unfair, and far more stressful. First, laws and compliance protect people and property. Imagine if there were no rules about stealing. Anyone could take your phone, your bag, or even your car, and nothing would stop them. But because there are laws against theft, and because most people comply with these laws, we can live with a sense of security. The same goes for our homes. Laws say that no one can enter your house without your permission. This means you can feel safe when you sleep at night. Compliance is what makes these protections real, because people choose to respect them. They also make life fair and safe. Fairness means that everyone is treated equally under the same set of rules. For example, traffic laws apply to everyone, whether you are rich or poor, young or old. If you run a red light, you can get a ticket just like anyone else. This creates trust in society because people know the rules apply to all. Safety is another big reason laws exist. Laws about seat belts, speed limits, food hygiene, and workplace safety are all designed to protect our health and lives. When people comply with these rules, fewer accidents happen, and more lives are saved. Another important role of laws and compliance is helping solve problems and conflicts. People don't always agree with each other. Sometimes neighbors argue about property boundaries, or businesses disagree about a contract. Laws give us a fair way to solve these problems without violence. A judge or court can look at the law and make a decision that both sides must follow. Compliance ensures that both sides respect and accept the decision, even if they don't like it. This helps keep peace in communities. But what happens when people don't follow laws or rules? Well, that's when problems start. Let's look at a simple example. Traffic rules. If a driver ignores the red light because they are in a hurry, they could cause a crash, injuring themselves and others. Not complying with this law puts lives in danger. Another example is in the workplace. If a factory worker doesn't follow safety rules, like wearing a helmet or gloves, they could have an accident. That's not only bad for the worker, but also for the company, which might have to stop production and lose money. When laws are broken and compliance is ignored, the effects can spread. If many people in a city stop paying for public transport, the transport system will lose money and may stop running as well. If companies ignore environmental laws, pollution can increase, making the air and water unsafe. So, breaking the rules is not just a personal choice. It can hurt many people and even the environment. You can think of laws and compliance as a kind of invisible shield. They are always around you, protecting you from danger, unfair treatment, and chaos. Without them, life would feel uncertain and unsafe. With them, we can live in an organized society where people respect each other's rights and work together. So next time you stop at a red light, pay for something in a shop, or follow a safety rule at work, remember, you are not just avoiding trouble. You are playing your part in keeping the whole system running. Your compliance is a small but important piece of the puzzle that makes daily life better for everyone. Types of laws. Now that we know why laws are important, let's look at the different types of laws. You see, not all laws are the same. They cover different parts of life, and each type has its own purpose. Today, we'll talk about 4 main types: criminal laws, civil laws, family laws, and workplace laws. I'll keep the examples simple so you can easily understand each one. First, we have criminal laws. These are laws that deal with serious actions that hurt people, property, or society. When someone breaks a criminal law, it is called a crime. Criminal laws are there to protect people and keep order in society. Examples of crimes include stealing, damaging someone's property, or hurting another person physically, like hitting or attacking them. For example, if someone steals a phone from a shop, they have broken a criminal law. The police can arrest them, and a court can punish them with a fine, or even send them to prison. Criminal laws are very important because they make sure dangerous actions have consequences, and they keep communities safe. Next, there are civil laws. These laws deal with disagreements between people, companies, or organizations. Civil laws are not about punishing someone for a crime, but about solving problems fairly. For example, if you sign a contract with someone to paint your house and they don't do the job, that's not a crime, but it is a legal problem. You can take the person to court under civil law to ask for your money back or to have the work done. Another example is a disagreement over property. Maybe two neighbors are arguing about where the fence should be. Civil laws help solve these problems in a peaceful and fair way, without violence. The third type is family laws. These laws deal with family matters and relationships between people in a family. They include rules about marriage, divorce, adoption, and the care of children. For example, family law decides how property should be divided when a couple divorces. It also decides who should take care of the children and how often the other parent can visit. Family laws also protect children from harm. If a child is being abused or neglected, family law can step in to keep the child safe. These laws help protect the well-being of families and make sure that children grow up in a safe environment. Finally, we have workplace laws. These are laws that protect workers and employers. They make sure workplaces are safe, fair, and respectful. For example, in many countries, the law says that workers must be paid at least a minimum wage for the hours they work. Workplace laws also say that employees should be given safe working conditions. For example, construction workers must wear helmets, and factory workers must have protective equipment. These laws protect workers from being treated unfairly or put in dangerous situations. They also help companies by creating clear rules that everyone understands. Even though these types of laws focus on different areas of life, they are all connected by the same goal: keeping people safe, treating them fairly, and making society work well. Criminal laws protect you from harm. Civil laws help you solve disagreements peacefully. Family laws protect relationships and children, and workplace laws make sure your job is safe and fair. It's also important to remember that laws can sometimes overlap. For example, if someone damages your car, it might be a criminal case if they did it on purpose, but it could also be a civil case if you want them to pay for repairs. This shows how laws can work together to make sure justice is done. Knowing the different types of laws can help you understand your rights and responsibilities in different situations. It also helps you know where to turn if you have a problem. If it's a crime, you go to the police. If it's a contract problem, you might go to civil court. If it's a family matter, you go to a family court. And if it's a workplace issue, you can speak to labor authorities or your company's HR department. So, laws are not just one big set of rules. They are like different tools in a toolbox, each designed to fix a different kind of problem. The more you understand these tools, the better you can protect yourself and live confidently in society. Compliance in different situations. We've already learned that compliance means following rules, but it's important to see how this works in real life. Compliance isn't only about big laws made by the government. It's also about everyday rules we follow in different situations. Whether you're at work, at school, in your community, or even online, compliance plays an important role in keeping things safe, fair, and organized. Let's take a closer look. First, Let's talk about compliance at work. Every workplace has rules, and many of them are about safety. For example, in a construction job, workers must wear helmets, safety boots, and sometimes gloves or goggles. These rules are not just suggestions. They are there to protect workers from serious injuries. Compliance also means following company policies, like being on time, respecting your colleagues, and completing your tasks honestly. If someone ignores these rules, it can create problems, cause accidents, and even put the company at risk of breaking the law. By following safety and policy rules, workers protect themselves, their teammates, and their company. Next, there's compliance at school. Schools have their own set of rules to create a good learning environment. These can include arriving on time for class, respecting the teacher, keeping noise levels down, and not cheating on exams. Following these rules helps everyone focus on learning. Imagine a classroom where no one listens to the teacher. It would be noisy, confusing, and no learning would happen. Compliance in school teaches students discipline, respect, and teamwork, skills that will help them later in life. Now let's think about compliance in the community. Communities often have rules for public spaces like parks, streets, and markets. For example, you might see signs saying, "No littering," or "Keep dogs on a leash." Recycling rules are also common, separating paper, glass, and plastic so they can be reused instead of thrown away. These rules keep public areas clean and safe for everyone. If people ignored these rules, public spaces would become dirty, unsafe, and unpleasant to use. By following community rules, we show respect for our neighbors and make our shared spaces better for everyone. Finally, there's compliance online. The Internet has its own set of rules, often called terms and conditions or terms of service. These tell you what you can and cannot do on a website or social media platform. For example, you may not be allowed to post harmful or offensive content, or you might need to protect your password and account details. Compliance online also means avoiding scams, not downloading illegal content, and respecting other people's privacy. If we don't follow online rules, we can face problems like losing access to an account, getting fined, or even breaking the law. Just like in the real world, compliance online helps keep the Internet safe, fair, and enjoyable for everyone. The main point to remember is that compliance is not only about avoiding trouble, it's about making life better and more organized in every area. At work, it keeps people safe and companies running smoothly. At school, it creates a good place to learn. In the community, it protects shared spaces and the environment. Online, it keeps communication respectful and secure. No matter where you are, compliance builds trust. When you follow the rules, other people know they can depend on you. And when everyone follows the rules, things work well for everyone. Just like a well-practiced team playing a game where everyone understands and respects the same rules. How to stay compliant. Staying compliant is not about being afraid of punishment. It is about understanding what is expected of you and choosing to act in ways that keep life safe, fair, and respectful for everyone. The first step in staying compliant is knowing the rules and laws that apply to you. This means being aware of national laws in your country, local rules in your community, and specific regulations in your school, workplace, or online spaces you use. For example, if you work in a restaurant, there are health and hygiene rules you must follow. If you drive a car, You must know traffic rules. If you use a social media platform, you must know its community guidelines. Without knowing the rules, it's easy to break them without even realizing it. That's why awareness is the foundation of compliance. The second step is asking questions when you don't understand something. Many people make mistakes simply because they were too shy or afraid to ask for clarification. For instance, if your manager tells you to complete a task at work, but you're not sure of the correct procedure, it's better to ask rather than risk doing it incorrectly and possibly breaking a rule. The same applies in school. If you don't understand a classroom policy, ask your teacher. Compliance is not about guessing, it's about making sure you understand before you act. Another important way to stay compliant is to learn from official sources. Not all information you hear from friends, social media, or online forums is correct. If you want to know the traffic rules, check your local government's transport department website. If you need workplace policies, read your employee handbook or ask your HR department. For legal or tax matters, consult official government websites or certified professionals. Relying on accurate, trusted sources helps you avoid mistakes caused by misinformation. Building good habits is the key to staying compliant without constant effort. Good habits like respect, honesty, and safety become part of your daily life and guide your actions naturally. For example, if you always put on your seatbelt without thinking, you are automatically following the law without extra effort. If you make it a habit to double-check information before sharing it online, you are staying compliant with anti-misinformation policies. If you get used to cleaning up after yourself in public spaces, you are following community cleanliness rules. These habits reduce the risk of accidental violations and create a positive environment around you. Ultimately, staying compliant is not just about rules, it's about responsibility. When you know the rules, ask when unsure, rely on official sources, and build respectful habits, you not only protect yourself from legal trouble, but also contribute to a safer, fairer, and more organized society. Compliance works best when it becomes part of who you are, not something you have to force yourself to remember. This mindset turns following the rules into a natural part of everyday life, making you a more trusted and respected member of your community, workplace, and society at large. Common challenges people face. Even though following laws and rules is very important, many people face challenges when trying to stay compliant. These challenges can make it hard to always do the right thing. Today, we will talk about some common challenges people face and how these can affect their decisions. Understanding these challenges can help you avoid problems and make better choices. One of the biggest challenges is not knowing the rules. Sometimes people break laws or rules simply because they do not know about them. For example, if someone moves to a new country, they might not know the local traffic rules. They could accidentally cross the street where it is not safe or park in a no-parking zone. Another example is a new employee who doesn't know all the safety rules at work. Without proper knowledge, it is easy to make mistakes. This is why learning and asking questions about rules is very important. It is always better to find out and be sure than to guess and risk breaking the rules. Another challenge is cultural differences and misunderstandings. Different cultures have different ways of doing things, and what is normal in one place might be against the rules in another. For example, in some cultures, it is polite to remove your shoes before entering a home, but in others, people keep their shoes on. If you are visiting a new country, you might not know these customs or rules, which can cause problems or misunderstandings. Sometimes people may think a behavior is acceptable because it is normal in their culture, but it is actually against the law in the place they are living or visiting. Understanding and respecting local customs and laws can help avoid these challenges. Some people face the problem of thinking some rules are not important. They may believe that small rules don't matter, or that following them is a waste of time. For example, someone might think it's okay to throw trash on the street because just one piece won't hurt. Or they might not wear a helmet when riding a bike because it feels uncomfortable. This attitude can lead to bigger problems. Small rules exist for good reasons, often to protect safety or fairness. Ignoring them can harm you and others. It's important to remember that every rule has a purpose, even if it seems small or inconvenient. Peer pressure or bad advice is another challenge. Sometimes friends, family, or coworkers encourage people to break rules or ignore laws. For example, a friend might say, "Don't bother paying that tax. Nobody does it." Or someone at work might tell you it's okay to skip safety gear to save time. When people listen to this kind of advice, they might break the rules without thinking of the consequences. Peer pressure can be very strong, but it's important to make your own decisions and follow the rules you know are right. If you feel unsure, try to find advice from trusted and official sources. To make this clearer, let me give you a few simple stories. Imagine a new student at school who didn't know the rule about no phones in class. She used her phone during a lesson and got into trouble. If she had asked a teacher about the rule, she could have avoided the problem. Or think about a tourist visiting a country where it is illegal to chew gum in public. He didn't know this rule and chewed gum on the street. He was fined by the police. In another example, a young man thought it was okay to park his car in a no-parking zone just for a minute. But he came back to find a ticket on his car. Finally, a worker ignored a safety rule at work because his co-workers said it was unnecessary, but he got injured because of it. These examples show how challenges can lead to trouble, but they also show the importance of learning, asking questions, and making careful choices. No one is perfect, and everyone makes mistakes sometimes. The important thing is to learn from those mistakes and try to do better next time. Remember, understanding these common challenges will help you avoid breaking rules and stay safe and respectful in your daily life. If you ever feel confused or pressured, don't be afraid to ask for help or advice from people you trust or from official sources. Being aware of these challenges is the first step toward becoming confident and responsible in following laws and compliance. Benefits of following laws and compliance. Now that we have talked about the challenges people face when following laws and rules, let's focus on something positive: the benefits of following laws and being compliant. When you follow the rules, you don't just avoid trouble. You also gain many good things in your life. These benefits help you live safely, build better relationships, and earn respect from others. Let's explore these benefits together. One of the most important benefits is personal safety. Laws and rules are made to protect you. For example, wearing a seat belt while driving or riding in a car helps protect you in case of an accident. Following traffic rules, such as stopping at red lights and obeying speed limits, reduces the risk of crashes. Safety rules at work protect you from injuries. When you comply with these rules, you are taking care of your health and well-being. Personal safety is the foundation for a good life. When you feel safe, you can focus on other important things like work, study, and family. Another benefit is better relationships with people around you. Following laws and rules shows that you respect others and their rights. For example, obeying noise rules in your neighborhood shows respect for your neighbor's need to rest. Respecting workplace policies creates a good environment where co-workers can trust each other. When you follow family laws, you help create harmony at home. When people see that you follow rules and respect others, they are more likely to trust you and want to work or live with you. Good relationships make life happier and easier. Following laws and rules also brings trust and respect from others. Trust is very important in society. When people know you follow the rules, they can trust you to do the right thing. This trust can help you in many ways. For example, your employer might give you more responsibilities, or your friends might rely on you. Respect comes with trust. People respect those who behave fairly and honestly. Respect opens doors to new opportunities in work, school, and community life. It also builds your reputation as a responsible and reliable person. Lastly, one clear benefit of following laws and compliance is avoiding problems and penalties. When you break rules, you can face fines, legal action, or other punishments. For example, speeding can lead to a ticket, and not paying taxes can cause serious trouble with the government. These problems cost time, money, and peace of mind. By being compliant, you save yourself from these issues. This means you can focus on positive things without worrying about getting into trouble. Avoiding penalties also means you keep your good record, which can be important for jobs, travel, and other opportunities. In summary, following laws and being compliant is about more than just rules. It is about creating a better life for yourself and those around you. Personal safety keeps you healthy. Good relationships make life enjoyable. Trust and respect open new doors. And avoiding penalties saves you from stress and problems. These benefits show that compliance is a smart and positive choice. Remember, each time you choose to follow a rule, you are making a decision that helps you and your community. Even small actions like wearing a helmet, paying bills on time, or respecting your neighbors have big benefits. The more you practice compliance, the more these benefits grow in your life. Now, to help you understand better, let me share 2 short stories from real life. These stories will show how following laws and rules can bring good results and how breaking them can cause problems. Both stories use simple English, so you can listen carefully and learn important lessons. Our first story is about a young woman named Anna. Anna lives in a busy city and works as a delivery driver. Every day she drives her motorcycle to deliver packages to customers. The city has many traffic rules, like stopping at red lights, wearing helmets, and driving within speed limits. Anna knows these rules well because she learned them before getting her driving license. She always wears her helmet and follows all the traffic signals. One rainy day, Anna was running late for her deliveries. She felt worried and thought about ignoring a red light to save time. But she remembered the rules and the importance of safety. So, she stopped at the red light as usual. A few minutes later, A car from another street did not stop at its red light and crashed into the intersection. Because Anna followed the rules and stopped, she avoided the accident. Anna's careful behavior kept her safe, and she continued her deliveries without any problems. Her boss was happy with her good record and gave her a small bonus for being responsible. Anna's story shows that following laws and rules helps protect you and brings good results. Sometimes, following rules may take a little more time or effort, but it keeps you safe and helps you succeed. Now, let's hear the story of Mark, a young man who did not follow the rules and faced problems. Mark owns a small food shop. One day, to save money, he decided not to clean his kitchen properly. He thought the health and safety laws were too strict and that inspectors would not visit his shop often. Mark did not follow the rules about cleanliness and food safety. A few weeks later, a health inspector came to check Mark's shop. They found many problems: dirty kitchen surfaces, expired food, and no proper storage for ingredients. The inspector gave Mark a warning and told him to fix the problems quickly. Mark ignored the warning and continued his old habits. After some time, the health inspector returned and saw that nothing had changed. This time, they closed Mark's shop for safety reasons. Mark lost many customers and had to pay a large fine. He also lost his good reputation in the community. Mark's story teaches us an important lesson. Ignoring laws and rules can cause big problems. Trying to save time or money by breaking rules can lead to losing your job, money, and respect. Both Anna and Mark's stories are simple, but very powerful. Anna showed responsibility, respect for rules, and patience, and she was rewarded with safety and success. Mark ignored rules, thinking they were not important, and faced serious consequences. These stories help us understand that laws and compliance are not just about avoiding punishment. They are about making smart choices that protect us and help us build good lives. Every time you follow a rule, you are like Anna, making a choice for safety and success. When you ignore rules like Mark, you risk losing many good things. Remember these stories as you go through your day. Think about how your choices can keep you safe and respected, or cause problems. Following laws and compliance is a way to take control of your life and make it better step by step. As we come to the end of our podcast today, I want to share some final tips with you. These tips will help you stay on the right path when it comes to laws and compliance. Following these ideas will make your life safer, easier, and more respectful for yourself and others around you. First, always keep learning about your rights and responsibilities. Laws and rules can change, and new ones can appear. It's important to stay informed about the rules that apply to you in your country, community, workplace, and online. For example, if you start a new job, take time to learn the company's policies. If you move to a new place, learn the local laws and customs. The more you know, the better you can protect yourself and avoid mistakes. Learning is a lifelong process. No one knows everything, but being curious and open to new information helps you grow. Second, always respect others. Respect is the heart of compliance. When you follow rules, you show respect for other people's safety, property, and feelings. This respect builds trust and good relationships with family, friends, co-workers, and neighbors. Respect also means listening carefully and being polite, even if you don't always agree. When you treat others with kindness and fairness, you help create a better and more peaceful community. Next, It's very important to think before you act. Sometimes we make quick decisions without thinking about the consequences. But when it comes to laws and rules, taking a moment to think can save you from trouble. For example, before crossing the street, look both ways and wait for the green light. Before sharing information online, ask yourself if it is true and kind. Before driving, check your speed and obey traffic signs. Thinking carefully helps you choose actions that are safe, respectful, and legal. Finally, never be afraid to ask for help if you're unsure about a rule. No one expects you to know everything. If you don't understand a rule or law, or if you are unsure how to follow it, ask someone you trust. This could be a teacher, manager, family member, or an official authority. Asking questions is a smart way to learn and avoid mistakes. It shows responsibility and care for yourself and others. Remember, it's better to ask and be sure than to guess and risk breaking a rule. These final tips are simple but powerful. By keeping them in mind, you will become more confident in following laws and being compliant. You will protect yourself, build better relationships, and help create a safer, fairer world. Thank you very much for listening to today's episode of Code Your English. I hope you found it useful and interesting. Remember, learning about laws and compliance is not just for adults or experts. It's for everyone, including you. Keep practicing your English listening and speaking skills by thinking about these ideas and sharing them with others. Stay safe, respect the rules, and see you in the next episode.